Hello there, my name is James Harrington. If Spanish football is for you, then this is the place to be. Today we'll be previewing 3 matches on Matchday 8 in La Liga this weekend, starting with Atletico Madrid versus Barcelona. Starting with Atletico Madrid, who last weekend had a surprise defeat to Alaves. Now, not to be unfair to Alaves, but no one could have predicted the side bottom of the table beating the reigning champions, but they won 1-0, securing their first winner of the season, thanks to a LaGuardia header in the 4th minute, and then staying strong for the remaining 90. Now, fair play to Alaves, they thwarted Atletico Madrid at every corner. They had to get over that defeat very quickly though, as they played AC Milan in the Champions League midweek, the first encounter of these two sides in 7 years. It was thanks to goals from Antoine Griezmann, his first since returning to the club, and Luis Suarez, a penalty in the 97th minute, that Atletico Madrid beat the Rossoneri. Now it's fair to say that Atletico Madrid started the poorer of the two sides. It's a very youthful AC Milan side, and they were intense, they were sprightly, they were energetic, and they got the lead in the 20th minute. But it was the red card to Kessie that was the real turning point for the match. That meant that Milan began to sit deeper and deeper, Atletico Madrid applied the pressure, and they won the match, getting the victory. Turning back to La Liga, in good news for Atletico Madrid, Lemar, João Felix and Koke are all back in contention for selection, with the latter, Koke, probably being the most important of the three. Into the Calderon did a really insightful article in what they described the Koke dependency. He's so critical for them, and that's become very apparent in recent matches, with Atletico Madrid having dropped 5 points in the last 3 games. This is not a new phenomenon, however, and if you look back to their results in January 2020, over the course of 7 matches, they only averaged 1.4 points per game. He's their engine, he's their tempo, someone who can muck in defensively but also turn creator. That will likely mean that Kondogbia and Herrera, who have ably deputised in recent matches, will likely have to settle for the bench, but Koke will be a key player if he starts against Barcelona. But the player who have all the eyes on them this weekend is Antoine Griezmann, the Frenchman, who returned to Atletico Madrid from Barcelona this summer. Now, Antoine Griezmann is adding to that Cholo headache at the moment of having so many attacking players at his disposal. How does he fit them all in? Atletico Madrid fans probably had hoped Griezmann would have started hitting the ground sooner. Up until the match against AC Milan, he had not scored a goal or had a shot on target. But now, having got the leveller against the Rossoneri, hopefully he can now kick on and be back to his fine form that he was like in his first stint at Madrid. Reflect on how Griezmann will be remembered by Barcelona. I just want to draw your attention to something Pete Jensen says in his recent piece. Whilst it wasn't a perfect match when Griezmann was a player for Barcelona, he was important. He scored 35 goals, gave 16 assists in 102 games. But 19 of his goals were decisive, either the first in a game or putting Barca back in front. There were 106 key passes too, and he only missed 2 matches because of injury. Look, that's all in the past now, and this weekend he'll definitely want to show his former employers what they're missing. We now turn to the opponent, Barcelona. Now, with Barcelona this season, I don't know what approach I should take with previewing them. Do you come from the perspective of lowered expectations due to the financial strife, losing a club legend in Messi, or do you come from the perspective of it's Barcelona, one of the greatest clubs globally and historically? With Barcelona, there's been a lot of pressure at late, hoping to prevent what could be a catastrophic season. There's genuine concern this could be a trophyless campaign for Barcelona and possibly even falling out of that Champions League places. But that pressure has felt even more intense in recent weeks due to that pathetic display against Bayern Munich where they lost 3-0 at home in the Champions League, the result against Granada where they snatched a late leveller to get a draw, and then as well the draw against Cadiz, a side that they struggled last season to get the better of. As well, looking at Koeman, he's been feeling the heat. Supposedly Laporta has been trying to find suitable alternatives, but none are available. Koeman as well did that strange press conference where he delivered a pre-prepared statement and took no questions, and as well, he was sent off afterwards against Cadiz in frustration. Anything less than a victory against Levante would have been unacceptable. But Barcelona got an outstanding result, put an outstanding performance, beating the Valencian side 3-0 with goals from Depay, De Jong, that being his first of the club since his move from Sevilla, and finally Ansu Fati. More on him in a bit. But with that result, it really gave Barcelona breathing space as they headed into their midweek Champions League game against Portuguese side Benfica. The two things to take away from the Levante match is one, Ansu Fati. Now the 18-year-old returned to the squad after an 11 months injury layoff. And boy did he deliver. Coming on as a second half sub wearing his new number 10 on the back of his shirt, the number previously worn by Lionel Messi, and he got the third goal, putting the game to bed. A lot of hope has been pinned on his shoulders, and I feel confident that he'll meet those expectations. Having already represented the Spanish national team, coming from the Barcelona academy, and being the youngest goal scorer in the club's history, with Ansu Fati it feels like they're marking a new era, a new beginning. But it's not only Ansu Fati, it's the other array of youngsters at Koeman's disposal. Looking at those players that featured against Levante, the five that started: Dest, Eric Garcia, Mingueza, Gavi, Nico. And then the players that came on, you had Puig, Fati, Araujo, Demir. So many talented prospects. And going forward, the future does look bright for Barcelona. We have to take the rough with the smooth this season. In other good news for Barcelona, going into this match against Atletico Madrid, Pedri is back in training. Someone who in his first full season at the Catalan club became automatically indispensable for his silkiness on the ball and playing with maturity well beyond his years. Likely, if he is fit, he will play some part against Atletico this weekend, and it'd be great to see him back in those Barcelona colours. The next game to look out for this weekend is Villarreal versus Real Betis. Two sides battling it out for those European spots this season. Now Villarreal come into this match after another draw, but we can't be too harsh on this time because of their opponents. It was Real Madrid, and if you take that result in isolation, that is a good result. But I imagine Villarreal were frustrated by the outcome because they dominated large spells of the game and they had the better of the opportunities. Albiol, their captain, afterwards did say they were hoping for the victory but will settle for the draw considering the opposition. Emery's team, as they have been since he became their manager, is tactically very tight, and that's reflective in their results this season. Undefeated from 6 games, 5 of them being draws, and 1 victory against Elche. The star man for me against Real Madrid was Danjuma, the new signing from Bournemouth, who seemed to have transitioned well into life in La Liga, even getting a goal against Elche. Before the game against Real Betis, Villarreal have a rehash of that Europa League final, this time in the Champions League against Manchester United. Still without Gerard Moreno, which I'm not all too worried about. Admittedly, he was their top scorer, but goals have been coming from elsewhere on the pitch. And if you look at his replacements, Paco Alcacer has been looking bright, and he is a proven goal scorer. And hopefully soon Dia, the new signing from Liga, will get his first goal in La Liga. A key player in this game against Real Betis is likely going to be Etienne Capoue, a man, the only player to have started all 6 of their matches in La Liga, who has been a consistent performer since his January move last season from Watford and has filled an ably for the injured Vicente Iborra. Etienne Capoue will have to be careful though in this game. With the likely advancing threat from Canales and Fekir, he is the person who's committed the most fouls for Villarreal. He needs to be smart because Betis are a threat from set pieces with some very tall front men in William José and Borja Iglesias. So let's now look at Real Betis. Now Real Betis comes to this game after back-to-back victories Osasuna and a beleaguered Getafe, with a side hailing from the capital falling victim to a brace by William José. In a match where, let's be frank, Real Betis could have scored more goals, having 20 shots with a number of them hitting the post. Real Betis at the moment currently sit higher up in the league table than Villarreal, and they too as well have European commitments before playing at the Ceramica. Real Betis have to travel to Budapest in the Europa League to play Ferencváros, the Hungarian outfit. Now, Real Betis have already started winning in their first match in the Europa League against Celtic last time out in what was an exciting 4-3 victory for them. Looking at La Liga previews, I tend to pick on sometimes one player who I think will be really important in the upcoming match. In the past, I've talked about Fekir, I've talked about Canales, I've talked about Borja Iglesias. This time around, someone who sits further back in the pitch, I'm going to pick on Guido Rodriguez, the defensive midfielder. The Argentine has been so consistent for Betis, imposing at 6-1 in the centre of the park, top tackler in the team after Fekir leads the team for pressures and leads the team for blocks. Having him enables the midfield and the attack to be more cavalier going forward. Someone like Fekir, I really feel, is benefiting from Guido's presence. He'll be key in this match. He'll need to preempt what Villarreal are doing, being aware that they're going to be quick in transition and he has to potentially break up that play, and especially at times a defender will get drawn out of position by an advancing Villarreal player and he'll need to add that cover. And once he regains possession, he will enable Los Verde Blancos to rebuild again. With their only league defeat this season against Real Madrid in what was only a 1-0 close game, I think Betis will be confident of their chances even with the match being away. The third game to look out for this weekend is Getafe versus Real Sociedad. Now the reason why I picked this game in particular is because of the two managers who are experiencing very different fortunes of late. Starting with Michel at Getafe. Now unfortunately for Getafe, they've secured the unwanted record of worst start in La Liga history with 7 straight defeats. The most recent one coming up against Real Betis. They've collected 0 points out of a possible 21. They scored 2 goals, conceded 12. It all makes for dire reading. Now, when Michel was brought in, he was given the mandate of more attractive, possession-based football, something that's easy on the eye. But against Betis and in all their matches really this season, there's no clear identity or philosophy to speak of, and they really are struggling to adapt to his style. Now the reason why I picked this game in particular is because it's back at home at the Coliseum Alfonso Perez, and the 8th straight defeat will be simply unacceptable for Getafe fans. And it's unfortunate to say, because I don't like to talk about a manager potentially losing his job, but it's probably clear that the bookies' favourite this season to be one of the first out of the exit door, out of the hot seat, is probably Michel if the situation does not improve. Just briefly talking about Real Sociedad, it seems to be golden for Imanol at the moment, having won 5 of their opening 7 matches, most recently coming up against Elche, where they emerged 1-0 victors in what was a heavily rotated squad. Now, the objective for Real Sociedad, as I said before, is Champions League football, and they seem better equipped for that this season. Having won the Copa del Rey last season, they've had that taste of success. The new signings that come in, I think they'll be serious challengers for the likes of Sevilla. Real Sociedad do have to play in the Europa League on Thursday night against Monaco, but with the match being at home with 3 days to prepare for the game against Getafe, I don't think that'll be too problematic. So what does this all mean for my predictions? Well, starting with Atletico Madrid versus Barcelona, I think it's going to be the same as last season, where Barcelona are going to struggle to beat Atletico, especially with the match being at home. I'm going to go for a 1-0 victory for Atletico Madrid. Now turning to the game, Villarreal versus Real Betis. Now I don't mean to say this prediction to frustrate and anger Villarreal fans who are probably hankering for another victory, but I do think this game is going to be a 1-1 result. Even though Real Betis have been good on the road against Granada and Osasuna, I think it could be a very frustrating afternoon for the visitors. Finally, that leaves Getafe and Real Sociedad. And do I think it could be the 8th straight defeat for Getafe this season? Unfortunately, I do. I'm going to give it a 3-1 victory to Real Sociedad. Well, that's it for this episode. If you did enjoy the video, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, that notification bell, and give the video a thumbs up. It's all greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.